Every so often, we are treated to a stunning, hyper-original movie that just blows us away. Leviathan, which released in March of 1989, is one such movie. A pressure-sealed creature feature masterpiece, it is packed with phenomenal acting, spectacular visuals, and iconic originality. If you disagree, I encourage you to take a few minutes and calmly explain why. So without further ado, let's dive into this piece of cinematic perfection, shall we?
Do it!
Leviathan kicks off with a crew of deep-sea miners working for a conglomerate called Tri-Oceanic Corporation. This name is perfect, because if there's one thing audiences need, it's another film with an evil corporation pulling the strings.
Thank you!
The crew is nearing the end of a 90-day underwater stint. We are told they are on day 87. So when one of the crew members says she has just finished 2 months of work, silly people are led to declare, "Oh, wait, that's only 60 days." Now, if you are one of said silly people, please, kindly, go and get nice and bent. This is not a movie error. She simply spent the first month sitting around not working. Duh. Eventually, the crew discovers a Soviet shipwreck named Leviathan. So if you thought, as I did, that the title referred only to the monster, this revelation absolutely floored you. Instead of reporting the wreck, the crew decides to go inside and steal a safe. Now, dimwits might ask, why would trained professionals enter a mysterious Soviet shipwreck and remove potentially hazardous materials from its storehouse? If you are among those dimwits, inside the safe, they find vodka. One crew member drinks the vodka, because honestly, what professional diver wouldn't? And that's when things start getting bad. AKA, the movie starts getting even better.
Oh no! What happened?
People start getting sick. One crew member dies.
So long, farewell.
And the doctor decides to keep the sad turn of events, which the doctor hardly appears to care about, quiet so the crew doesn't panic. Now, once again, dunces will say, wouldn't everyone panic anyway when their coworker is no longer up and around in the small, confined station? Well, dunces, you would do well to get off this perfect movie's back.
Get off me! Ah!
Soon, another crew member discovers the casualty. She then starts losing her hair and dies as well.
So long.
After everyone gets over not caring that she dove into Davy Jones's locker, the two bodies really come together as a couple.
Nice.
At this point in the movie, the uninitiated often say, this feels like a direct, shameless copy of The Thing. The initiated, however, simply say, "Oh yeah!" The creature design is expensive, grotesque, and fascinating. Therefore, naturally, the movie barely shows it, which is absolutely the right call. Because why on earth would someone watch a movie expecting to see things? I say those people's imaginations are broken. While we're on the topic of the movie's making, it needs to be noted that the principal photography was largely conducted in Rome. And interestingly enough, Italians often drink wine with their lunches while on the job site. And we wonder why Rome fell.
Got him!
So now that the excrement has officially hit the industrial strength fan, the crew gracefully attempts to jettison the merged body into the ocean. But the creature strikes back and one of its tentacles gets severed in the airlock and decides to loiter in the station. Why was this appendage ignored by the crew? Well, because it looked tasty, of course.
Joey doesn't share food!
As the crew investigates, it learns that the Soviet crew had been experimenting with mutagens. Things went horribly wrong, of course, so the ship was scuttled to contain the infection. Typical commie behavior.
Boom. Roasted.
So the creature goes on a blood and plasma bender, and the crew members, realizing they are being hunted, grab some handy-dandy flamethrowers. And yes, you heard that correctly. Flamethrowers in an underwater mining station. Why? Well, because there were flamethrowers in The Thing. And as we all know, sticking to realism, at the expense of copying The Thing, is for blockheads.
What an idiot!
Peter Weller plays Stephen Beck, and he is excellent. He brings actual authority, intelligence, and exhausted competence to a movie where crew members are taking PTO for the entire first month of their stint in the station. Do any of them have complex backstories?
No.
But honestly, such boringness would only detract from the creature visuals we aren't privy to.
I like your style, friend.
Apparently, the actors hated the heavy dive suits, which were hot, uncomfortable, and gloriously expensive. This, however, radically enhanced the realism. The characters looked miserable because the actors were, in fact, miserable.
Brilliant!
So the crew discovers that Tri-Oceanic has already declared them dead and announced that there has been a catastrophic accident in the station. Simpletons might ask, why would the company do this before confirming everyone was actually dead? Well, because the movie needed another truly shocking and entirely necessary plot revelation.
Yeah, boy.
So one thing leads to another, and pretty soon the station begins to implode. Because once a deep-sea horror movie starts running out of expendable crewmen, that's what audiences expect. So the survivors escape in their expensive dive suits and reach the surface. But oh shoot! Just when everyone thinks they're safe, the creature returns for one final showdown. Some might call this predictable. They might even have a name for it. A quote-unquote false ending. Such people, I argue, are allergic to joy. So Beck defeats the creature by tossing a demolition charge down its gullet, blowing it to pieces.
Farewell.
Yay! Sushi for lunch. And then, as a final exclamation point, Beck punches the corporate executive who tried to bury him with the station. How did the executive not expect Beck to be angry with her? Well, that just doesn't matter.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Now, obviously, this showstopper of a film released between two other aquatic flicks, Deep Star 6 and The Abyss. 1989 was certainly the year to go deep.
Alrighty then.
Now, against a production budget of $25 million, Leviathan only grossed $15 million worldwide. This certified flop, however, was not at all the movie's fault. This was the fault of audiences, who simply did not understand how amazing the film actually was.
Shame on you, Maurice.
With all that said, I'm quite certain that I have proven just how perfect Leviathan is. It takes John Carpenter's The Thing and makes it legitimately awesome. But if you're one of those Debbie Downers who disagrees, please consider not subscribing. Oh, and my comment section is always open. Bye!